Dragon 8910 in Discord, or Yacht Dragon 90. Or if you know me as Jason. So what today is going to be an interesting little stream of just playing a game called Satisfactory. That, as of today, July 3rd, 2023, is still in early access. Now, it is soon to be, hopefully, 1.0, or at least we get a release date here soon. Whether we do or not, we don't know. The game's been in development for 8 years. It's 2024, so 8 years, 26. It's been in development since 2016 by the folks over at CoffeeStain Studios. They developed everything from Sanctum to Deep Galactic, I believe. I could be wrong on that. To Goat Simulator, and now they've got Satisfactory. So, what I'm going to hopefully do is I'm going to teach you guys my playstyle so that you guys can kind of, so those who have wanted to learn from me can have the opportunity to learn and also learn of the game if they've never played. So what this is a factory building game. What that means is this. You're going to have a component of the game and of the development of the game that is going to be there we go. A little bit better. Just move the camera angle around a little bit so you guys can see hopefully a little bit better. Slightly bigger. But yeah, so this is a factory building game that your goal is to literally build a factory. Problem is, most people when they build a factory, they build the factory with the intent to literally build a factory. Problem is, most people when they build a factory, they build the factory with the intention of rushing past the earliest parts of the game. What that early part of the game is generally going to be biomass burners, building in the weeds, and building factories that are not as heavily built. So, with that said, I'm going to go ahead and start a new game. And I am going to make this the onboarding process simply because this is what this episode is planning to be. The stream is about to be teaching you guys some of the game for those interested in having played the game before. And is also about playing this game the way that I do. Or at least understanding the methodology behind that. So, that said, I may be keeping an eye on Discord. I do have my own Discord server. If you guys are interested, let me know. I'll definitely post links for that in this. But if I am in a voice chat, I will probably let you guys know. And you guys can always join me there if you are not in YouTube chat. So I will just kind of let you guys know right now that I do not do this for money. I'm not monetized. I'm not looking to monetize my YouTube channel. I'm just gonna hopefully get some content out there and get people to get interested. But so this is the entire map is all 4 different sorts that you have. The grass fields, the rocky desert, the northern forest, and the dune desert. Each are very different in how they play. For example, when it comes to the grass fields, where I've exercise art for which I would recommend for any first-time players, as well as anyone who's either very rusty at the game or simply has certain difficulties. So I'm going to keep that around. But you have a pretty small inventory. There is an onboarding process that is the game's built-in tutorial. I do recommend it for those that are wanting to experience this game from the very much ground up and build their way up. It's not a bad way to build the game. I'm just going to make sure my... What's one of the things that you can do? You can set your... That's a little more advanced for those interested. But you have creatures in the game that by default, you get too close, they will attack you. Though you can now, in recent updates with the game, you can make this something that you only have to deal with to a small degree via, or you can set the creatures to be very much passive. They don't attack you at all, whether you attack or not. So what I'm going to go ahead and do right now is I'm going to go ahead and run around and grab some biomass materials. And biomass is your first power system that you're going to have access to once you clear the... Now what that means is that these biomass burners that you can build just as standalone power plants will provide you up to 30 megawatts of power each. Keynote, they are also the only power plant that is self-regulating. So what that means for those who have never played Satisfactory before is that means that they will literally use less fuel if you need less power. It's something to kind of keep in mind as you play through the game. And I'm kind of running, right now I'm actually kind of running around and grabbing a few things that are extra. You don't have to grab them. I do for the purposes of unlocking things for research later on. I'm kind of just running around grabbing a bunch of green leafy things, but I am more interested in having the wood, access to the wood. As we get to the point where we have access to doing biomass properly, you're going to see me become very selective in what I use for fuel sources. Because this is not an act, because biomass, contrary to its name, is not actually safe. But this is a part of the game. You load in, you're literally collecting everything. I'm not going to get too deep into some of the more, things that the onboard, the game's built in. Because I'm going to encourage you guys that have never played the game and see this to play that, to kind of have an idea of some of the more rough, basic, more roughly and honestly better detailed basic mechanics of the game to that. Like I said, this is going to be a series kind of more about explaining kind of the playstyle that I have. Because I know I've heard at least one person that wants to learn the way I play. So this is going to be more of that is going to be for them. So one of the things that you do find when it comes to these kinds of things, you're going to find that you want to be very selective. And since I'm starting in a place that I flat I haven't really grown used to as much as I have my usual starting place, which is the northern forest, which is for me a much more natural starting point. Now that is a spot that I would recommend for those who are either more likely to think in a more vertical perspective when they build, or again, each of the different areas, starting areas in the game, do lead to different challenges. One of the challenges for the grass fields is the fact that you've got lots of wide open space, you have a lot of wide open materials, but you're not going to be able to ramp up production as easily as you might, let's say, in the grass, in the dune desert, or in the so purity of your nodes, of your resource nodes. You have impure, normal, and impure. The biggest difference with the Mark I automated miners, an impure node will give you 30 items per minute, a normal node will give you 60, and a pure node will give you 120, just as a reference. And the different levels of miners will, for the short and simple of it, will double that number for every time you go up. So that's the real simple way to put it. Like I said, I'm not going to try and explain all the details of the game here in this stream or on this channel, at least not at this point. But that is, again, kind of the interesting part of this. Is that this is a somewhat more advanced introduction, primarily, like I said, to my playstyle. So with that said, let's go ahead and start actually laying down the in the weeds part of the factory. So for that, we're going to go ahead and lay access to some of the normal nodes. Now, iron is one of the first items that you want to, materials you want to start collecting. It's also one of the most plentiful resources in the game. And while you see me grabbing lots of just green leafy things, I will be, as I said, you're going to see me get, as I probably should have mentioned, I will be getting a bit more choosy with how I build things, and I'm going to explain why I do that here in this stream. Now, I am not, like I said, I am not monetized, I'm not sponsored, I'm not looking to be sponsored. My biggest thing right now is to get the game started. So, place down our hub, which is literally how we will progress through main portions of the game. And that's going to be by going through the milestones. Space Elevator is how you unlock further tiers of progression. But since we've got our hub down, and this is in a primarily limited space, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to lay out the biomass. Normally you will not see me actually go after leaves because they are 10 biomass, 10 leaves in, 5 biomass out. You'll see me stick with primarily wood. But again, this is mainly to get things started, as I don't yet have access to more effective means of getting the biomass out. Whereas with wood, compared to your leaves, you'll get 4 wood in and you'll get 20 biomass out. That's the real trick of the trace there. But as I said, this is going to be one of those things where you're seeing me go ahead and drop this stuff. So, and so now I've got all the biomass that I need for the time being. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to drop a big chunk of that into the storage bin here. Don't need that much right now, but we are going to go ahead and drop in these two items, those two. Now, these biomass burners are designed to actually give you only 20 megawatts each. The ones that will give you more are the ones that you are going to build freestanding. But not there yet. That's a later choice. That's a later thing that we're gonna get to. That I'm gonna get to. So, go ahead. We're gonna go to after base building. That's gonna be the first milestone we're gonna go after. Because we are trying to get our factory, this factory, out of the weeds, as I call it, for too long. So, for those interested, like I said, this is one of those things that you're gonna see. So, and I do apologize if I come across as very sharp or difficult to. So that is one of the things that I do, and I'm not monetized. I'm really not looking to be monetized, but I'm very new to streaming. I'll admit that much right now. But the objective here is to teach kind of my playstyle a little bit, and I think you might find certain things a little more interesting, especially as we go on. This will be so. Go ahead and lay out 2 miners. That's going to be the first thing. We're going to set these miners out. That's going to mean that I have now got the ability to make iron rods and iron plates. Because I'm going to be able to very quickly extract the iron ore and turn it into ingots right away. So, with that said, we're going to go ahead and build a couple of our constructors. This is the most bare minimum setup we're going to have. And we're going to do plates. We're going to do rods. And that is going to be the extent of that production right there. One thing that we're going to also do is we're going to set up a couple of storage containers very quickly. And these are literally going to just be here to make sure that we have a nice little build-up. So, okay. So you have these nice little hard bars that do come in handy. One other thing that we're going to go ahead and do is we're also going to go ahead and start getting limestone turned into concrete. Now I have more limestone there, but I'm not going to tap into that right now. So I'm going to just literally string this out so you kind of have an idea of what you're dealing with. And this is the advantage of the grass field, is that you're going to have the ability to kind of string things out in a much more straightforward, flat route. So if you're one of those people who, you need to see what you have before you go and make it pretty, this is your opportunity. This is a very helpful mechanic, those that do need that and aren't ready to start thinking about, okay, I need to do X amount this to this point and then do another level and do another level, which is something I've gone into. But this is not going to be if this is a rough stream, that's a rough stream. You guys want to go ahead and give me a bit of a shout out, that's perfectly fine. But I'm not going to be like, oh, woe is me. I'm going to just tell you guys, I'm not very good with streaming. It's not something I've never been a great public speaker or anything like that. Never aspired to be a public speaker. But we're going to go ahead and we're going to give it a shot. So, if you see something you like, that's cool. If not, that's cool. Any constructive criticism you guys can provide is always going to be welcome. Again, constructive criticism, not like, oh, you stink, or blah blah blah, or it's not, I don't find this content interesting. If it's the case, okay, why is it not interesting? What can I do to make it better? And, there are always also other YouTube channels out there, other things to watch. I'm not going to force you to pick one or the other. So, I now have access to, I'm going to go ahead, and I need to go ahead and build a few more rods and plates anyway. So, let's go ahead. And we're going to go ahead and turn the iron ore we have here into ingots, and we're going to turn the copper ore into ingots as well. Mainly because we need to. That's well and truly kind of the biggest thing. If you don't have the factory built up, one of the things that you want to do is you're going to want to focus primarily on you're going to want to focus on getting your basics going. Unless you're coming into a dedicated server that's been around for a little while, and it's been built up, which is perfectly okay. But this is a game about building factories, so be ready for the math. Be ready for a couple different things. So we are definitely, like I said, I'm just going to go ahead and start building up with quite a bit of this stuff here. Oh, hello there, Retro. Not much, just doing an actual public stream here to see if I can get this going and going well. So, I do apologize if I got your voice out there and it's not to your liking. I do apologize about that. But yeah, for those catching my stream here, I do recommend checking out Retro Animosity. I've seen him do a little bit of 7 Days to Die. I've seen, looks like he's got a couple others out there as well. So that's more your speed. Check him out. But you might see me running around and causing more than my fair share of havoc on his playthroughs. So, as we're getting into the BootStrap here, we're just going to start firing all this up. Oh, whoops. Yeah, about that. I only have the Mark I power poles that only allow up to 4 connections per pole. And this is, again, we're the situation of let's go ahead and get the absolute bare minimum up and running. Each machine right now is using about 4 megawatts, and I'm able to provide about 40. So before I go any further, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can... Oh, I need to do some rods. So let me go ahead and grab those really quick, and I'm going to grab build another couple... So, as we get this crazy party started, you're going to notice that this is you're going to run into, with any factory, you're going to run into bottlenecks. Right now I am literally pushing out 60 iron ore per minute, and each smelter here is only going to be able to take about 30. But my first objective is base building. Some might be wondering, okay. Alright. Go ahead and get that going. But gonna go ahead and start getting another biomass burner built here. And what that's going to allow is for an extra 30 megawatts. So instead of having 40, I'm going to have access to 70. So that's going to mean the power plant power is not going to die. But unfortunately, with biomass, you got a slight issue. And that issue is that biomass burners are the only self-regulating power. What that means in short term. In short term, that means as your power consumption goes up, they go through their fuel much more quickly. So, to really be ready for that, you're going to want to go ahead and grab some plate while I'm at it. Grab a little bit of concrete as well. But these are kind of your absolute literal basics. Getting iron production, your basic iron parts produced, your basic copper items like wire, at least initially. What that means is there is these things called alternate recipes. Those are actually very helpful later on in the game. One thing that they let you do, that will let you do, is it will let you build in such a way as to basically you have more iron than you do copper somewhere to do, say, any kind of wire production. You can literally make that production based off of your iron. It's actually a very, very good way to, once again, let's see if I can, alright. So get that going, and we're going to be able to get that going, and there we go with kind of terminated like that. So, and now I'm gonna get the wire. Gonna get started with wire made. Okay. So, there we go. Getting copper, smelting in ingots, and turning it into wire. Okay. So, now that's done, so you guys are gonna, just for recap for anyone that's interested, this is yes 8910 for those that know me in Discord or in yes Dragon 90, or for those that also that know me in real life. My name is Jason. Welcome to stream. Yes, this is a fresh start in playing a game called Satisfactory, being currently in development and potentially reaching a 1.0 here very soon from the makers of Sanctum as well as Goat Simulator, CoffeeStain Studios. And this is currently playing in the early access branch of the game. So, it's going to be kind of a recap right there. And burning through that biomass pretty fast. But the biggest part of that comes from the fact that I have got barely more power production from the fact I'm. So that's going to be kind of one of the things. So here we go. Got a little over 100 plates. And I need about 100 rods to get that going, to get the milestone, which is your basic progression through the game. If you've never played this game before, I do personally recommend you going through the onboarding process. Really good cutscenes starting out, and it really is a good way to introduce yourself to the game, especially if you've never played, or you know the game, but it's been a little while since you've played, to kind of reacquaint yourself with some of the basic mechanics. There are 4 starting areas. These 4 starting areas are the grass fields, where I'm currently building, the rocky desert, which is a little less green, a little bit more resources, as well as easier access to water for those that want to get into coal power pretty quick. You have the northern forest that is very much leafy and has lots of very pure nodes in close proximity, very rich nodes, I should say, perhaps. But you're going to have to learn to work not in a horizontal, flat plane, but you're going to have to be working up each level. So you're going to be building level upon level upon level. So you're going to be very careful with that. And then you have the dune desert that's very rough start for those who do biomass, as well as who aren't as familiar with the game and don't get to call very quickly. Assuming you don't do certain designs when it comes to producing power initially. But we are going to see if we can't get this BootStrap going pretty well. And this is essentially me right now just kind of sitting here waiting for stuff to get built. Yeah, and that's unfortunately kind of what you're going to see a lot of, at least in the initial streams here. Is you're going to see a lot of kind of hurry up and wait. Hurry up, build the construction, build the units, build the machines that will allow you to automate the production of things, but it's going to unfortunately take quite a bit of time. That's okay. I don't personally recommend rushing through the game anyway, because I have discovered that there are things that you will miss rushing to coal power rushing to other parts of the game. This is a game that I would argue has been very intentional in its design. And we're going to go ahead and see what we can do here. Okay. So I'm right now going around and just gathering, while the factory is, the weed factory here is going, we're going to go ahead and we're going to build up a supply of materials for biomass. So right now, to kind of keep things moving, we're going to go ahead and do that. And we're going to go ahead and, like I said, we're going to do that because we're going to expand the basic power here fairly soon. It's one of the reasons that I want to get the base building so that I can build more appropriate power plants, and I do mean that in a literal sense, an actual power plant off of biomass. Now, most people will say that you don't need to build a plant for biomass. You should just hurry. You should just get right to coal. Now, if you're going to do more than minutes at a time, or if you decide to play on a dedicated server, either you know someone who plays on a dedicated server, that has a community they're part of that you can play with, or you want to just leave your game running, go in the background while you go and do other things. That's the bane of everyone's existence with the game initially, is that you're not building a lot very quickly. And you can handcraft, but I for me, my objective here is to get the build style is to get away from the handcrafting as quickly as possible. Now, what does that mean? That means that I'm going to be doing, like I said, a minimum of handcrafting. So, you're going to see me mainly focus on trying to get a lot of construction, a lot of automated production farming. That's what the game is about. It's really about the production, is the automating of production. What here in the early game, you're gonna handcraft. It's inevitable, but I'm going to try and keep that to a minimum for you guys who are watching. Just because that can be, I'm sure that can be kind of really annoying. Now, this is a Mercer sphere. This is for those who are wondering why I've been practicing it up. It is currently a work in progress here in the early access branch of the game. So right now there's really nothing useful that you can do with it. There's no known reason for it. If I recall correctly, I've heard that there is going to be some sort of story tie-in to it. But since I don't have access to the story, I'm not going to worry too much about those. You can if you so choose, and that's just kind of how, if you want to do it, that's what you want to do. But that's also kind of, again, that's the point of the game too, is you can build however you want. I'm just literally doing this as a, hey, this is my build style, and this is why my build style is the way it is. Why my playstyle is the way that it is. Now, if you think this is a playstyle that works for you, feel free to adopt or modify as you see fit. If not, hopefully you can find it entertaining that a guy who's got 6,000 hours in the game is going and starting over again. Even though he's got I've never completed the game. As I've never completed all the objectives, all the milestones, and all the space elevator parts. So, I'm going to go ahead, run around, And we're gonna grab a bit more wood, we're gonna grab the leaves, we're gonna grab all that right now. Later on, I'm going to ignore anything that's of the leaf variety, and we're gonna stick with wood. Again, that's a, for me, that's, at least in my case, that's an efficiency thing. For every 10 leaves you turn into biomass, you only get 5 biomass, which early on in the game, that is a very crucial thing. You're also going to see me chase down certain milestones before others, which might seem a little strange for you guys, for anyone that's watching that's played the game for a while. I will be more than happy to publicly apologize in the stream if I say something that is a little rude. I mean, yes, this is gaming, and I have to not mark this for kids because I am a 35-year-old guy who has a mouth that's not exactly perfectly clean, so kind of not mark this as something for kids. And when they if parents are watching or anything and they see that, oh, this is marked for kids, let's watch it with our kids, and they have all the kind of words that they hear their kids saying, they're going washing their kids' mouth out with soap. Let's go ahead and just keep those kind of shenanigans to a minimum. Alright, so I don't need any. So now we're getting to the point of, now we can start manufacturing a few more parts. A few more building. And specifically, we're going to build more biomass burners, because that's the only kind of power production that we have access to right now. And if I'm getting a little too mouthy, please let me know in the comments or in the chat. I don't want to be talking your guys' ears off, and you just like, can we just watch the gameplay? Please do let me know if that's something you're more preferring to, is just watching the gameplay or hearing me yak my gab off. Especially since right now, the only chat I have access to, or really is going to be too much of a thing, is going to be the YouTube chat. So so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go back to the... Now this is what we're actually producing. This is what we're actually consuming. Notice that they're very much this slot in lockstep. But this is how much power we would be using if all our machines kicked on at once. Unfortunately, they're not right 100% efficient right now. Our capacity is how many megawatts all our generators combined are capable of producing. So go ahead and we're going to turn all this biomass in, turn these leaves and this wood into biomass very quickly. One, to shrink down the amount of space being utilized by the items in our inventory is very small right now, but that, and now we're going to turn all of these wood into biomass. Notice that for significantly less wood, or roughly about less wood, we're actually going to get more biomass. That's the trick to wood being your biomass source, especially early game. Because you can, for roughly about 10.4 megawatts all told, you can get the capacity to produce 120 solid biofuel, and that can be providing you enough fuel to provide you with up to 3 gigawatts of power. Whereas leaves doesn't really give you that much in the way of options. So we're going to go ahead and get this production going. I'm about to run out of space in my inventory, which is a good thing. Means I can run around and start restock these bad boys right quick, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to build about 10, and we're going to make a little more organized than what we got. Alright, so there we go. So our boom. Alright, we can build those. We're going to go ahead and build those really quick. One, two, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. 6, 7, 8. And 10. Okay, so there's a few things to fix. So these will provide significantly more. So we'll go ahead and start getting these filled up. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to link these into power network. Tie these bad boys. Tie these guys in. Boom, boom. Boom. Alright, so. Yeah. Grab more concrete. Alright, so I think we are now at the point where we can almost get ready to start building as I'd like to build. Alright. Let's see. So I need some more cables. So we're gonna grab the wire here. We're gonna go ahead and build production. We're gonna build a craft bench out here. And we are going to craft more biomass. We're gonna create more biomass because that is a big part of the early game is building your power. Building, in this case, building power sufficient amounts of power. So I'm gonna go ahead and build as much of that fuel as I can for the moment. And as soon as I get the obstacle clearing milestone complete here in a minute, that's going to be my next the other reason I wanted that, just since it's close. Let's go ahead and build some more, turn some of this wire into cable again. Okay. We'll see how stream's doing and how everyone's interested in this, so hopefully this is entertaining content for you guys. Okay. A little bit of wire here to string this along. So let me get that going. And okay, here we go. Just had a huge jump in our capacity, which will also mean that the burn rate goes down. So let me get that going, and This is part of the power of biomass burners. If your capacity is much in significant excess of your consumption, the biomass burners will actually turn down how much power they're using, or how much power they're producing, and therefore how much fuel they're using. Quite helpful, actually. I've got this extra item go there. Boink. Boink. I'm going to get the base building going. So let's go ahead. Boink, boink, boink. And big old button, and we launch off this guy. So what's our next milestone going to be? So we'll probably go ahead and be this one right here, because that's easily completable, and it also is going to give us converter, conveyor splitters, mergers, and conveyor lifts. Field research, we'll go after bits. But one of the things that I want to do is I want to up my production. So you've got access to the foundations, you've got the fix-it foundations and the fix-it walls, basic stuff. Boom. Alright, so there's kind of where we're going to start building power plants from. But now it's just a matter of letting things kind of run for now. did not choose the correct. I did not actually go and choose any costume. So I'm a goofball. I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna go ahead and select that costume. So I'm gonna go to logistics. Get selected. I have more than enough iron plates. I need some rods, and I do need some wire for it. Okay. So you see me go after logistics, and you see me go after rebuilding and logistics. This unlocks the Mark 1 belt lift, and it also allows for a bit more productive usage of things. Alright, so I'll let the wire build up here a minute. See if anyone wants to chat in. But alright, there we go. Probably definitely need to go ahead and see what we got. Okay. Maybe this I probably definitely need to go ahead and now that we're almost up to 250 fires iron plates or wire. Okay. Let that keep going, but then we'll go ahead and put down some storage. We're almost up to 250 5 iron plates, or wire. We'll go ahead and it essentially works out that you're going to do just one. Put down some storage really quick. Particular. And it essentially works out that you're going to do just one particular that's not turning out the way I'd like it. Let's see here, I'm now about an hour in. Let's see if we can go ahead and okay, so that's not turning out the way I'd like it. Let's see here, I'm now about an hour in. Let's see if we can go ahead and display capture. See how that works out. See if that's okay. So looks like we're now actually able to see what I'm doing, which is actually a little helpful. Looks to be buffering. Looks to be buffering. Yeah, I know I am one of my. I know one of the current. So yeah, I know I am one of my. I'm trying to make sure I get this done correctly. I know one of the current viewers, just because I'm trying to make sure I get this done correctly. Seeing what I'm doing. So. Yeah, make sure that you guys are actually seeing what I'm doing. So, putting that up.
ahead and
So,
storage bin kind of in place over here.
so we're building that up, Let's go ahead and get a storage bin
That. Boom.
kind of in place over here.
Now, I just gotta open up. Let's go with the power cable and the concrete and the iron plate.
Alright, so we got that. Boom.
So this is gonna be kind of more of a like,
Now,
hey, this is what
now we just
Satisfactory
gotta
is.
open up. Let's go with
Kind of
the power
For
cable
that I do apologize.
and the concrete and the iron plates to kind of build up. So this is gonna be kind of more of a kind of, hey, this is what Satisfactory is kind of thing. So for that I do apologize. But hopefully we can get this
I'm
going
gonna put
pretty
this power
quickly.
plant on top of there. On top of a platform I'm gonna build based off of that. There we go.
So I'm gonna put this power plant on top of there. On top of a platform I'm gonna build based off of that.
That's going. But yeah, I think for the moment, we're gonna be kind of in a just chatting mode, while again things build up. Do the proper bootstrap here. You're gonna need to be.
But yeah, I think for the moment, yeah, we're gonna be kind of just chatting mode.
You kind of need a lot of.
While again things build up. To do a lot of the
bootstrap
proper bootstrap here, you're gonna need to be getting
all this kind of built.
A relatively, you kind of need a lot of resources built. So this is the bootstrap of bootstrapping. Gonna get all this kind of built.
There we go. I have all the materials. Let's go ahead and complete that. Boink, 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 boom.
There we go.
Go. And that's. Well, just
I have all the materials. Let's go ahead and complete that.
And I don't care for the Ada, which is the.
Boink. Boom.
Now this would come in here, but it also means screws.
And that's logistics completed.
But what I really want to do right now is I want to do obstacle clearing.
And I don't care for the Ada, which is the. Now this would come in handy, but it would also mean the screws. But what I really want to do right now is I want to do obstacle clearing.
Screws.
So we need cable, we need concrete, and we need screws.
Screwy little problem we've got.
Right now the only way we're going to get screws is through by turning rods into screws. Yeah, that's quite the screwy little problem we've got there. But it is what it is. We learn to work with that kind of thing in this game.
And make a bunch of screws. There are what we call drop pods running around throughout the map. And these will let you unlock potentially more inventory slots.
And make a bunch of screws. There are what we call drop pods running around throughout the map. And these will let you unlock.
And some of these will be very
inventory
good.
slots.
The iron wire, for example, allows you to make wire from iron.
And the rest will be alternate recipes.
So if you don't have as much copper, or your copper is, you want to dedicate your copper
for example,
to copper
and some of these will be very good.
Do so
the iron wire, for example, allows you to make
the
wire
from
iron,
where you can take out the step where
you don't have as much copper, or your copper
iron ingots into.
You want to dedicate your copper to, say, doing copper sheet.
To get anywhere.
You can do so a little bit more easily. Or the cast screw recipe, where you can
see how this
take out the step where you make iron ingots into rods into screws.
Kind of blow up the chat.
So,
I know you guys are interested in this kind of content. Feel free to
this kind of goes.
Subscribe and follow. That's what.
Yeah.
Notifications
kind of blow the chat.
But I am just gonna.
I know you guys are
right
interested
now
in this
just
kind of
focus
content,
on
feel free
getting
to
things kind of built up.
like, subscribe, follow.
Which means,
that's what
unfortunately, we've got
turn on
handcrafting.
notifications. That's up to you guys.
This is kind of the
But
rough
I am
part
just
of
gonna
playing the
simply
game. Is you
right now just focus on
start out with this
getting
very
things
basic
built up.
power. You have to do a
Which
lot of
means,
hand
unfortunately,
crafting, which is
we've got the handcrafting galore. This is kind
certainly
of
gotta
the
hand it to
rough part of
devs.
playing
They know
the
how to
game is
really annoy some
when
gamers.
you start out with this very basic power, you have to do a lot of handcrafting, which is certainly gotta hand it to the devs. They know how to really annoy some gamers.
Do anything with that, but we've got about a minute for the
Get that.
once the flood gets back. So we'll see how that kind of looks, how that goes here.
Do anything with that, but we've got about a minute for the once the flood gets back. So we'll see how that kind of looks, how that goes here.
I do apologize for the yawning. I have got off work about 5 o'clock morning Central Time, and now I'm sitting very tired. I have not
I
yet
do apologize
slept.
for the yawning. I
Just been kind of playing the game.
got off work about
And just kind
5
of
o'clock morning Central Time, and now I'm
for what good that would do.
sitting very
yes, I do work full
tired. I
time,
have
so
not
what that
yet
means
slept.
is that this is not my
Just been kind of playing the game.
top priority as
relaxing.
far as doing
So we'll
doing.
for what
So
good
you
that
probably
would
won't
do.
see too many in the way of
And yes, I do work full time. So what that means is that this is not my
streams, maybe 1 or 2 a week,
top
maybe.
priority as far
Unless
as
y'all decide that you really like my content for some
doing.
odd
So
reason,
I won't
you
see
guys
too
want
many
me to
in the way
stream
of
more often. I'd be certainly more than happy to. But
too many streams, maybe 1 or 2 a week.
left to my own
maybe.
devices, yeah, I will probably not
Unless
be
y'all
streaming
decide
very
that
often.
you really like my
Not like
content
if
for
I
some
once or twice a week.
odd reason you guys want me to stream more often.
It's because I do work a
I'd be
full-time
certainly
job.
more than happy to. But left to my own devices,
There
yeah, I will
is
probably not be streaming
Obstacle
very often.
clearing.
Like I said, probably
Yeah.
once or twice a week.
That means I will also have
Um,
access to.
Just because I do work a full-time job.
So what do I need to get my?
So there is
what am I
optical
missing right
clearing.
now? I am missing
now.
missing
That
reinforced
means
iron
that I will
plates.
also have
That
access
is
to
actually something easily fixed, but I'm going to need a
So
lot
what do
more
I need
screws.
to get my
So you know
chainsaw
what that
for?
means?
What am I missing right now? I am missing
More hand
missing
grafting.
reinforced iron plates. That is actually something
One thing that you can also do,
easily
you can also grab out the rods.
fixed, but I'm going to
the
need a lot
ingots,
more
put
screws.
those in the
So
rods,
you
and
know
then
what that
the
means?
Screws to kind of accelerate that for now.
More hand grafting. One thing that you can also do is you can also grab
that
out
is
the
one thing
rods
I'm
here,
gonna do
the
right now
ingots,
is I'm gonna
turn
just
those
go
into
ahead
rods, and then turn them into screws.
Grab those
To kind of
ingots
accelerate that for
and
now.
ready to turn those into rods before too long. So
So that is one thing I'm going to do
What
right
does
now. Is I'm going to just
getting
go
the
ahead,
obstacle clearing milestone also do?
grab those ingots,
Well, it
and
also
be ready to turn those into
provides us with the
rods
opportunity
before too long. So, what does getting the obstacle clearing milestone also do?
And we will go ahead and just
Well,
select
it
this one
also
for now.
provides us with the
And we still have
opportunity.
two bits of research that I want to get done. So I need to now make a bunch of I need to now make about 160
So we'll go ahead
screws.
and we'll go ahead and just select this one for now.
Okay.
And we do have a bit of,
Go ahead and
few
do
bits
that.
of research that I want to get done. So I need to now make a bunch of screws. I need to now make about 160 screws.
And wow, 5.
Okay.
I'm sitting
So
with
we'll go ahead
5
and do
people
that.
coming into view, and we'll check and see who's coming in to check us out. Check this out. But like I said, feel free to pop up in the chat.
I'm
And,
sitting 5 people coming in to
Just let me know.
view, and
I don't
we'll
bite.
check and see who's coming in to check us out. Check this out. But like I said, feel free to pop up in the
What
chat.
am I missing?
And
Iron rods. Oh,
yourself,
okay,
you know.
So I keep making the parts.
I don't
some of
bite.
the parts that I need, and I'm not getting enough parts for them. So let's go ahead and let's get this going.
What am I missing here? Iron rod. So,
right.
okay, so I keep making the parts to the parts that I need, and I'm not getting enough parts for them. So let's go ahead and let's get this going.
Making the rods.
Right.
Alright, so we're gonna make one.
Making the rods. Making the
That's gonna be
rods.
the next big thing. It's gonna be turning
Alright, so we're gonna make
biomass
one
into solid biofuel. That's gonna be the next
So that's
big,
gonna be the next big
production
thing.
chain.
It's gonna be
So,
turning
we're gonna grab one of these.
is going to be turning
Turn
biomass into solid biofuel. That's going to be the next
solid biofuel.
big production chain. So then we're going to grab one of these and we're going to turn that into the solid biofuel. Here we go. Chainsaw runs off of solid biofuel. And this is probably your easiest way to get more production going. So, yeah, for those of you looking for a more advanced playthrough, I do have other saves. But if you do want to see any, if you do want to see those, again, chat is probably your fastest way to see those more advanced builds, rather than see this early game goofiness. This is just the way the early game is. That source for now. Try and go ahead and we're just gonna go ahead and just take that mic off. And just get rid of the mic, so you're just gonna be hopefully not seeing too much or hearing too much. And the noise is not intolerable. But, yes. Better getting this going, getting this going. Yeah. I know this seems about as interesting as watching paint dry. I do apologize for that, but this is the early game. This is kind of what you sign up for. So we're gonna dump everything that I don't need right now into this. Okay, and we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go cut down a few trees. This is going to give us a lot of wood. And it's also going to help us really clean up a potential factory floor. And I'm going to, like I said, my first objective here is to go ahead and get a proper power plant going up off the ground. That's my first objective. Is to get the power cutting, the power going and going in a way that is not so very annoying. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna keep cutting all this down. We're gonna get some of what we're looking for. We're gonna get probably a lot more of what we don't, unfortunately. But that is why we are able to remove things by drag, drop, and we're going to create a lot of wood. We're going to get a lot of wood, return the biomass. And we're gonna go ahead, and that's again our main objective, is to get a lot of wood right now, because we're about to shift from using anything and everything that's available to now we're gonna get very particular. At least I'm gonna get very particular. The biggest reason for that is because wood again is the most efficient way to make solid biofuel that I have found, assuming you haven't unlocked the alien protein into biomass, which is, well, that's an obscene recipe. I'm just gonna say it like that. It's an obscene recipe. You get one alien protein, you get 100 biomass. That works out to the equivalent of 15 alien protein per minute. Works out to an equivalent of 1,500 biomass per minute. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to just cut these trees down. This is going to give us a lot of starting material much more quickly. But for those of you wondering, oh, this seems rather tedious. Well, yes, it is very tedious. And that's unfortunately kind of the way the game is designed. But it's also a good thing. It's going to nudge you in the direction of getting a way to develop, to advance in the game and go and progress on. Just don't push it too hard. There are things to do in the early game, in the very early game, that are actually a lot of fun too. So just kind of keep that in mind. It's the game is designed to nudge you in the direction of progressing beyond the very basic power system telling on right now. So one thing we're going to go ahead and keep running around doing is we're going to go ahead and we're going to keep cutting down trees. Now, if you choose not to want to fight or harm animals, you can do this. Again, one of the settings that you're going to be able to utilize is the passive creature hostility in passive mode, so that no matter what, they will not attack you. You have zero reason to attack them. Some people do like the challenge of fighting for the resources that they need. You're going to find a lot of creatures here. And I do apologize for any buffering that's happening. Like I said, I am very new to streaming, so finding a way to get a decoding rate getting from OBS Studio to YouTube that's a much stable thing is going to be a little more difficult, and I do apologize for that. Anyone who's got any suggestions for me, please let me know. Comments, chat, all that jazz. Again, I'm not going to really try and push the channel to be, out there as much, because I'm doing this for fun. I'm not doing this as a job. I have a full-time job that pays my bills much better than probably YouTube most likely could. So, I'm just going to run around. We're cutting down lots and lots of trees. If you're a tree fan, I do apologize. This is probably the most gruesome thing that you have ever seen, and I do apologize. But for those of you who are not fans of foliage, well, this is probably better than your adult video entertainment you might find elsewhere. So just like I said, we're in this to do this, and if you guys are interested, this is cool. Again, part of the issue right now is literally just the build-up of materials. The only thing that's not building up right now is screws, because I don't have a constructor making screws. I want to build up a backup supply of rods to kind of keep that in play. Keep rods running around for 9 minutes here. So we're going to go ahead and cut all these annoying little trees down. This provides a significant amount of wood. It's also, these are soon, the flower petals, which are actually soon to be removed in the 1.0 version of the game. Because they basically serve no purpose. They're essentially fluff, and they get in the way. They're obstructive in the game. Because the only thing that you would use them for in the current iteration of the game is to make colored cartridges to make stencils, but in the 1.0 release, at least from what the devs have said in their streams and their videos, that's going to be completely error free. So customization will be completely free, and you will not have to do any kind of production line to be able to customize your factories, which is, quite frankly, amazing. And here we go. Howdy, howdy. Not much, just working on a stream good serious. I do apologize. I can definitely make sure I cut the audio out. So I do apologize about that. Probably should have made that somewhere in my status. But yeah, just working on explaining to people kind of why I'm a guy that does 3 gigawatt biomass power plants. Yeah, and actually it's doing like as an actual stream thing. You know, put it there for, you know, those who wish to digest that kind of content on YouTube to digest it. But yeah, I do about it. Like I said, I do apologize if you're not a fan of being, you know, people hearing your voice or anything. I don't believe anything's getting caught. If it is, I do apologize. Alright, but so far I've got, the only thing I don't have being produced right now is my screws, which is kind of annoying. Not just to show. Yeah, I do this kind of not to kind of show people like how, not just to show like, hey, you know, I talk about, hey, this is what I do, but like actually showing like how it's effective. Because some people, you know, they say, oh well, but they'll hear like biomass is a pain in the butt and this and all that, and kind of just actually, you know, I'm gonna kind of be showing it, and I may even do this as a stream thing, just maybe see if, you know, Friday we get a 1.0 update, 1.0 release date video. Maybe. I mean, it would be kind of cool if we did, but I'm not counting on that. Supposedly on the stream, that was kind of something like they were talking about. Oh, with less than a week, you'll know something. Like, we'll see if that holds up true. Okay, I don't need these freaking leaves. I don't need that. Let's go ahead and drop down here. Throw the limestone in here. I have silica all of a sudden, which is nice. Put that. I do 3, yeah. Yeah. And that's just to make sure there's enough clearance between one train going one way and one train going the other way. Okay, so I have my cilia, which I don't need my cilia right now. We'll drop that. Pick that up. We'll go ahead and drop the silica and my cilia down. And then go ahead and start making a bunch of you know what? Before I get too crazy with this, let's just automate the production of the biofuel. Let's just do that. That makes life a little less complicated. Boink, 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 boink. Not heavily, no. I do it more for like if I need to lay out a large factory floor or I want to put a ceiling up. I might do something if I'm doing hypertubes, maybe using blueprints that someone I've played with in the past has built on his local save. Or they sent me and got imported in. Not really kind of I'm not a huge blueprint guy. Yeah. Yeah, it's like the blueprint, you can dismantle whole blueprints, you can drop blueprints and lock it in by blueprints, so the edges of the blueprints will lock together. And makes life so much easier. So, organization, storage bin, production, constructor. Oh, I need cable. Whoopsies! Let me go pick up some wiring and get that cable done. Whoopsies! Missing a few things. Alright. Yeah. 1.5 stacks of wire, that should be more than enough to make plenty of cable to keep me in cable for a minute. So how are you doing today, good sir? Hopefully DZ. Damn no. Yeah, I'm not sure. Daisy is probably my kind of game, honestly. But that's just me. Yeah, mine too. I mean, that's kind of how I end up with 6,000 hours in the game, so... Yeah, well, it kind of helped that I got into the game when Update 3 was fresh into early access, and I started the game probably February 2020, so right when the pandemic hit. So it's like, yeah, I have nothing to do except go to work, grab food to the house, and yep. um, uh, so wood. Copy the Roadhouse. Grab all this lovely biomass that I've already made. Stick it into this storage bin and start turning that biomass into solid biofuel already. Very, very carefully. Let's just get started screwing, getting screws going. About an hour and a half of the stream. I'll probably stream for a half hour or so, and then probably cut the stream for now and see kind of what happens. See if anyone checks it out. I take it you're one of the brewery servers right now? Yeah? No. Yeah? I'll leave it. I do kind of jump into a lot of the yeah, I hear you on that one. Yeah, that's definitely an issue. I mean, but that's, you get a group, people get to go together and they'll have this big old vision, and then life happens, real life happens, and they can't play together, or they can't play as consistently, or what I've seen a lot of servers run into, even with the brewery Discord servers for Satisfactory, everyone's playing it like duplicating basic ironwork, but basic steel and all that stuff. Yeah, and that can lead to arguments, unfortunately. But I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the issues with servers is there's no real way to kind of lock something down if you really want to lock it down. Yeah. So let's get field research. Next thing to kind of go after is going to be the go ahead and do the part assembly, because that's going to be going after Logistics Mark II, much less complicated. So let's go ahead and build a little bit of the little cable here. Jeez, I'm running the game will be pretty fast. So let's go ahead and swap out some of these builds out for the solid biomass out the solid biofuel, so that starts to burn down a lot less. And the biomass will be here. So yep, that's just not very efficient, unfortunately. But that's because I don't have Mach 2 buff. I didn't get that. But Mark II is what I really need there, but I'm stressed about it right now. Okay. Alrighty. Starting next. Going. Yep. So far, stream's gotten 6 total views. That's interesting to see. I'm curious to see if I can find out who is watching. So I can say thank you. Yep, that's running the not enough rods for screw. I am actually streaming on YouTube, actually. Yeah, I mean, I have something on here that had, I think at one point ended up with like 129 views, like most have had. And that was like 5 some odd years ago. But it is what it is. I'm not trying to be like I'm not looking to try and get like Yeah. And actually, Dark Cancer on the Discord is he's actually Retro Animosity on YouTube, so check out some of his stuff or see if there's ways to get in on that. Always test a little bit of Havoc when he's jumping into like 7 days. Yeah. Although I did cost him a little bit of a heart attack the first time he was streaming and I jumped on because he was in the Discord. I have it set up that anytime I enter a channel, a voice channel where it's I have access to the soundboard, it plays an intro sound. It's a trap. He was in a he was doing something in the inventory, kind of menus or so, kind of looking at inventories and stuff. And that sound plan is like, it's not a trap. Like, yes. What are you doing? You scared the living shit out of me, and I mean that literally. Ended up being a point where he went up into a house, went up the ladder into the attic of the house, and he came around this little corner, or about to come around this little corner. I hit play the sound. It's a trap. He's like, bro, and a zombie stands up. It's like, crap. I hate that you're right, and just starts running. It was like almost perfectly timed, but it wasn't like planned that way at all. It's just kind of funny to see. So, just getting the Rat's Nest Weed Whacker Factory going on here. So. Well, I got foundations, but like it's the building up the resources to do everything is the big thing. Because I'm running in the grass fields, which is, that and iron plates, but so that's kind of the hard part of streaming this early part of the game is, I want people to kind of see like why I'm a guy that has a Discord server that people joke about, kind of poke fun at the fact that I build 100 biomass burners to power my early game, and why it's actually kind of effective in a lot of ways that you wouldn't anticipate. Yeah. I do up to a point. I do up to a kind of a point, but like once you go from, usually once I get up to more coal power than what my biomass burner, building enough biomass burners to match is really a waste of my time. Yeah, that's why I usually say 3 gigawatts, and that's my power. And then once I get coal online, my goal is to usually get about 2.4 gigawatts of coal power online, which almost matches, but it's fully automated. So if I ever go above that 2.4 gigawatts, I've got 3 gigawatts, up to 3 gigawatts of biomass to kind of kick in as a peaker power plant. And well, the biggest one I ever tried to build but didn't ever get fully operational was a 9 gigawatt biomass power plant. Hey, the game doesn't stop you from trying to make it. You might have some. Yeah.
So,
yeah, early game. That's always the hardest time to do to build with much of anything, is because you're like you don't really have the best recipes to get the most concrete for your buck. Getting the water for it's a pain in the butt. Yeah, that's mid game. So I mean, like I've shown on a different save. I'm renovating my production, my steel production, to go from smelting the iron ore to using refineries, and kind of the same thing with going from mining my limestone to turning it into actual wet concrete, so I get more concrete for the same amount of limestone, or roughly the same amount of limestone in that area. So I can actually do, a actual bit more with it. I know that's probably one thing that I'm going to end up doing when I get back to that save, is I'm going to also tie in 2 pure limestone nodes that are near my rotor and cable factory for making motors and automated wiring. I'm going to turn that into just a pure concrete production for feeding into essential storage, general purpose use. Just because it's 2 pure limestone nodes. Wet concrete. I got more core belts. Why not? And I can kind of also later on go ahead and build because I plan to do kind of nuclear in that little corner, that kind of top left corner of Rocky Desert, or back behind that. I'm going to do my nuclear power plant, and having the ability to kind of encapsulate some limestone that I need for encased uranium cells, encased plutonium cells, is right there. Yeah, and they're going to have coal back there as well, so if I need to do anything with that, I can do something with it. Yeah, I'm planning to do it such that my nuclear power plant I can cut the power from my fuel power plant off from the rest of the world when I'm ready to boot up nuclear, and that 75 gigawatts is going straight into booting up nuclear power. Oh, jeez. There is like an impure uranium node in the Rocky Desert. It's just like it's a really hard place to get access to. So you kind of have to build a factory up to there. There's actually, I think they're adding another node, but they're going to be like impure, because like uranium is going to be still kind of one of those things that's a really rare resource, and we will probably never see a pure node there. but yeah, but they're like not anywhere near each other, so it's not going to be the easiest to just deploy that. So there we go. 5 minutes for the next one, and go ahead, boink. Who was that, I wonder? But, yeah, so I am actually probably getting to the point where it's probably time for me to cut the stream. Almost 2 hours in, and yeah, it's kind of introductory. And this is probably the most boring part of the game for anyone to probably watch, especially if they're someone who's been playing the game, just because it's like probably again the most boring part of the game. It's just kind of nature of the beast. So go ahead and get all these gens that are running off of biomass and get them onto solid biofuel. So this is going to be using lots of that. We're just going to go ahead and take all that out. We're going to go ahead and drop that. And we're going to go ahead and drop that all into here. Just kind of get that backing up a little bit here. Or it will probably won't back up, it will probably at least keep actually producing for a bit. Same with the biomass. So I'm running with Mark 1 belts for a bunch of stuff. But yeah, this is gonna be a long, steady process to get this kind of going. But at this point, like I said, it's starting over. Like, it's going to be interesting for the 1.0 release. And definitely, like I said, it's going to be one of those things that's nice big platform here that should, if memory serves, should be more than sufficient, and definitely above the gas cost, so I'm not getting choked out on that front. No problem. Yeah. The bane of the yin in the early game is you're stuck doing lots and lots of handcrafting.
I'm handcrafting.
Oh, I luckily, yeah, I kind of killed my original motor factory on my save because I'm rebuilding my basic production for that. So, the base production I need for that. So, like the rotors, I am running with. Yeah, I'm running with all that right now. So, let's go ahead and. Oh, they're gonna add a crap ton down really by the grass fields. Actually, there's gonna be a bunch added.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be kind of like where you get like that. You create a lake and like that kind of in the temple boundary area, kind of.
There you have 4 in there.
Yeah. like the it's gonna be area, that's area and the Crater Lake and like that kind of the boundary area, kind of. Yeah, but yeah, that boundary between like the swamp area and the Blue Crater Lake, they're gonna take out a couple of nodes and then they're gonna replace them with like 12 plus 12, 15 nodes of coal. So it's gonna be like coal. It's gonna be like Coalzilla. There. Yeah, the bamboo forest or whatever. Mm-hmm. And the bauxite too. I mean, yeah, it's possible, but it is definitely a pain. It's usually you're gonna set down the miners, you're gonna take them, you're gonna belt them over, or possibly truck them over to a train station probably, and then you're gonna train them out to where it's a lot easier to use and process. But that just kind of depends on how you build and how easy it is to, how comfortable you are to work with all the different vertical challenges that come with building kind of in the center of the map where they've got all that stuff going on. Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's also true in the northern forest as well. That you kind of have to learn. You have to build vertically. Yeah, and you kind of do this. Like I said, you do kind of do the same thing when it comes to the northern forest, depending on where you're at in the northern forest. Anyway, where I. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, Sparkos, there's not a lot there. Or in the center of the map either, where you've got all those trees, and some of them actually come up as not destructible. And look, and do they spew out gas? I think I know what you're talking about, and I don't think I've seen those be destructible yet. So, yeah, this will probably where I will probably go ahead and end this stream for those interested. But I will definitely, anyone that's interested, just, click the bell, turn on notifications if you so desire. I will be, I'll probably stream maybe later this week. I may this may be just the kind of the introductory stream, and we'll see kind of where things go from there. But, yep, go ahead and do a save. Go ahead and save this. One. Boot.